Yeah, come on. I am Dan Lewis on this fine Thursday evening. Good evening and welcome to On the Bywire. And I am bringing you the latest from our independent news partners at Bywire, the news source you know you can trust. Before we get into things, I'd like to ask you to just take a moment to hit that like button. Give us a follow. And if you're not already, head on over to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Help us help you find the best in news coverage from across our independent media partners. We are here every Monday to Thursday at 9 p.m. on Twitter, on Facebook, and YouTube, rounding up your day with the finest of news coverage. Now, today is unfortunately, painfully a sad day for many, as a well-known and loved journalist, writer, and supplier of entertainment on Twitter, Dawn Foster, has passed away. Not known for being one to stand by when she saw injustice, and rightly so, Dawn paved her own way with a determination for a better world, which was clear when hearing her speak at events and in her writing. Many people knew her only through social media and her work in writing, but still a great loss for us all. I hope that the joy she brought to all that she did will continue to shine through to the many people that will read her work as time goes on. And I send my love and blessings to all of her family, that they will find strength in this time. And to Dawn, thank you for all you have given us. There was so much more to be given, but for everything that you have given, you will never walk alone. Now, keeping on with the vibe, today I've got to give mad props to all the people out there in their offices dealing with this warm weather. Personally, I'd love it to be hotter, but I know it's a strain to be working in, especially when you ain't got no aircon, or if you're working out in the sun as well. That's even hard. Oh my day. So big up all the people out there that have been working hard in this weather, sweating it out. Done. We'll get a weather person soon so we can get you updates in advance of when this weather's coming. Don't worry, we're working on it. Now, obviously, if you're working hard and earning your P, that's for you. But not quite like some of the people in our first story today. Over to that corrupt building we call the House of Lords. I just want to make clear before we go ahead that I do not think all of the lords are corrupt, lazy, useless, or liars. Most of them, just not all of them. Now, it's a messed up place where they get a payment just for turning. Imagine you could just turn up at work and get paid. That's what these guys get. They don't have to do nothing. Like, just turn up. They get a free lunch as well. It's mad. No one's holding them to account in that building. And the whole system of how people become lords is so undemocratic. Like, some of them just get it because they're born. It's like, I'm born, and then their dad dies, whatever, and then they become a lord. It's mad. Now, thanks to Martin Williams, we also know that dozens of lords have been accused of a shocking lack of transparency over their financial interests. Personally, I don't really find it shocking, but let's look into it. Come on. Open Democracy have been investigating the private interests of the Lords, and more than 40 members of the House of Lords may be in breach of transparency rules. Shocker. Of course, the prime example of useless politicians, Eric Do Less Pickles, is first on the list. Now, he had an interesting answer for when Open Democracy got in contact with him. And the investigation shows many ties to businesses with no online presence, no online description, or even description in the register of what the Lords in question's role is with the businesses, or even explanation as to what the businesses do. It's just vague it can be. Now, when questioned about the matter, the ones who replied have very, very also vague answers that lead you to ask more questions. You know, when you're like, hey, how did that happen? And then they're like, well, I was not there at the time, but the time did see that I had the question in question. And you're like, huh? What the hell are you on about? That's what these guys do, man. They annoy me so much, man. Now, some of the companies, like, with links or like where you look where they're registered, or the people that are directors of these companies go back to like tax havens and stuff, and it just gets dodgier and dodgier the more you look into it. Like, I'm so glad that Open Democracy did this rather than me, because if it was me, I would have thrown the computer at the wall by now. I would have been rocking up at the Lord's door like, yo, what a bomb are you doing, man? Come on, you're meant to be representing a nation out here, you undemocratic piece of... My producer's in my ear telling me to calm down. It's too hot for this. Now, it brings us back to the question as where the interests of these lords lay. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in there meant to be representing the people, then what are you doing with these kind of businesses and them thing there? And you wonder why laws that come from the House of Commons into the House of Lords, they just get passed through without any real scrutiny. It's not... Now, credit to the ones who replied saying that they would update the register, and you know it was a mistake or whatever. Mistake. You've been caught out now. But surely it shouldn't take for them to get found out to do this. Like, shouldn't the House of Lords require for this to happen? And shouldn't there be some kind of punishment in place when they don't? Like, let's, you know, if I work in a bank, yeah, and I work there for a year, and then they find out that I'm also like involved with some massive stockbroker firm, or that I have a large amount of lands where the directors hold shares in that bank or something, I'd probably get taken to a disciplinary hearing or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, they would want to know what's going on there. So why is it that these guys who are in charge of the laws of our country aren't getting any kind of discipline going on? You know, I thought to myself today, like, it's just unacceptable. Something needs to be done about this. There's a lot of things, but this is truly terrible. Now, looking through the independent media today, I thought to myself, hold on a minute, we haven't caught up with our friends in Manchester in a hot minute. And I'm so glad to see this story. Eddie Tuma McAlpine brings us victory through the Village Manchester FC, who have won the Gay Football Supporters Network Cup, a tournament like many others that was halted by the pandemic, having stopped in March 2020. But Village Manchester this week got to take on Millwall Romans in a 6-goal game of excitement, finishing 3-1 on penalties. Now, this year is the 25th anniversary of Village Manchester FC, who have grown into a force to be reckoned with while holding a reputation of having a very inclusive environment. I love the small stories that Eddie has told in this piece. So have a good read of it and check out the stories, show them some love. Check out the Village Manchester FC on Twitter and give them a follow, show them some support, say congratulations to them, because I just think this is a beautiful story of how, even though the pandemic's got in the way, these guys have come back together, played the beautiful game of football together. They've got some victory, and it's a team that has such a good vibe of inclusiveness and openness, and it's beautiful. There's one story in there about one of the guys who is actually a straight player, and he said, you know what, I felt welcome, I felt a part of this. Imagine if every other place was like that for people who are LGBT or people of color or people with disabilities. You know, imagine if everywhere was open and welcoming as that. Maybe we can learn a thing or two from the LGBT community over there in Manchester. I don't know. I'm willing to learn. Now over to the Bureau. I can never say that word. The Bureau of Investigative Journalism, where they are asking if work is working. Care work is definitely an underrated. It is one of the underrated professions. People working in care are the ones day in, day out, looking after our most vulnerable in society. Now, Meave McClengan, Charles Boutard, and Vicky Gale have revealed that thousands of care jobs pay less than the living wage, despite many promises that they would be. As mentioned on the show previously, our Prime Minister, the former Hansi Health Minister, and this government have no interest in keeping their promise to reform adult social care. Do they have any care about anything that's going on other than their pockets? Seriously. The Bureau can reveal that more than 60% of care worker jobs advertised in the past 6 months were paid less than the living wage, which works out at over 7,000 jobs. Now, like, if you look at the minimum wage, right, or the living wage, and you times that by around 35 hours. Let's just say 35, 40 hours. And then you minus the taxes, right? Then work out the cost of, just for a new family, let's say, nappies, baby food, shopping, absolute basics, and then your bills on top. You're still in debt at the end of the week. That's just a week. Now you go over a month, it continues to get worse and worse. The living wage isn't even enough as it is. And these companies and local authorities that are paying people to look after our most vulnerable in society go out on the front line in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. They can't even pay those heroes a living wage, a minimum. Let's not call it a living wage. Yeah, I don't like that term, living wage, because your man can't live off them thing there. You get me, right? It's difficult to work out like exactly where the money should be coming from in these situations, because in this sector, it's part privatized, but those private companies will they'll tender the work off of local authorities, and then they'll take the money off the local authorities as well. They'll get subsidies from them and like the government and that, like the railways, they do stuff privately, but they still get subsidies of the government. You get me? Nah, it's not good, man. That's what private healthcare looks like. And then, but they still don't pay their own workers the right amount to be able to just live. Like, it's unacceptable. Now, there's 43 local authorities that have signed up to a unison charter that in that charter, they agree to pay the living wage. But the Bureau have found it doesn't seem they've all kept their promises. So these are councils that have sat there in the chamber in front of people who vote for them, and they've said, yep, we're going to pay our care workers the living wage. And here we are. Here we are. Sajid Javid gave a vague response when he got asked about this, adding in some transparent jargon about the Tories' plan for social care, while Angela Rayner made clear she's not impressed and said they deserve more, the workers, that is. But what is it with these politicians that can't sound out clear policy? We saw it today when Boris Johnson got up and talked about levelling up, right? That was the most weakest speech ever. He's the prime minister. He can do whatever he wants, basically. And he couldn't even commit to any policies. He talked about a bit of money here for grassroots football and them thing there, but putting money into the NHS. Blood, we don't believe your lies about the NHS, man. We urged enough time before the last election talking about how you're going to build new hospitals and all this money. And then the nurses and doctors and even the managers of the hospitals were coming out and saying, nah, bro, that money was already assigned by the last government. You ain't done nothing, man. Trust me, right? This guy's chatting breeze, and politicians need to fix up and start putting out some policy. They can't get away with this going on, talking about we need to level up, we need to spread the jam, do you know who was spreading the jam? Yeah, my man Corbs, in it. Yeah, not only did my man make the jam, but he spread the jam properly, and he made sure that in his policy everyone was going to get a fair share of them thing there, man. Trust me, these lot need to sort themselves out. Like, I think politicians, especially on this matter, when it comes to our care workers, it gets me angry, right? Because I've seen it firsthand. When care workers are coming out and looking after your family, they go above and beyond. They don't, when they've not got enough time left, but they really need to finish off helping out the person they're helping, they will do it where they can. They will do their best. And if they ain't getting paid right, then boy, there's something seriously wrong with everything that's going on in this world right now. And this is one of the big parts of it. Like, I want to hear some politicians tell me what they're going to do about it. I don't care if it's a good or bad thing that they're going to do, right? At least just say you're going to do something. Don't chat breeze, man. I want to know what action there is going to be from these politicians. Also, I suppose now it's time for Unison, who created the charter, to step up and really take on these local authorities, while also encouraging their own member, Angela Rayner, who's a member of Unison, and she's the deputy leader of the official, Her Majesty's opposition in Parliament, to make some change. Here's your time. Step up, Famalam. Unison, Angela, do your thing in it, man. Come on. Show us how you're going to hold these lot to account. They've signed your charter. What now? Now they're not following the thing. Come on. Real talk, man. This is not This is not a piece of work to miss. Honestly, if you guys have got the time, head on over to the Bureau of Investigative Journalism. I said it right that time, and check out this piece. There's so many stories in there where they've spoken to actual care workers, real people who are suffering under these terrible pay levels, and there's even there's a little timeline on there of 24 hours with a care worker. It's unbelievable, honestly, what these people go through and the lack of pay that they have. More must be done, because these are the people that we will rely on one day, and they deserve so much more. Now, I never thought football would make so many appearances on this show, but the Marxist Revolutionary Men's England team are doing bits when it comes to paving the way for change in this country. Might I say it that yeah, man, might I say it that the England team are actually doing more than many of the politicians in Parliament right now. The Canary today have reported on the surprising news that social media firms have given police details of racist posters targeting England stars. Racist comments appeared on platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, with the firms facing criticism for not acting swiftly enough to remove hateful posts. Now, Chief Constable Mark Roberts, the National Police Chiefs Council Football Police in lead. These lot love big titles for their names, don't they, man? Come on. He said that the companies are now working very closely with the UK Football Policing Unit, which is conducting the hate crime inquiry to identify those responsible. Big up you lot for doing something. Come on now. I'm sure every action possible will be taken against these people. But I've got to say that it shouldn't take a national outcry for this to happen. Real talk, man. For all the years that abuse has been thrown at people, not just celebrities and national athletes, and not just online, but in real life as well, this is only a small action in comparison. Myself and many others have been the victims of racist abuse, reported it to the police, and after hours of patronizing and painstaking questioning on us, the victims, nothing is done because the police say they can't get enough evidence or locate the perpetrators. There's a mountain of excuses they give for not dealing with hate crimes. I hope this action will continue for all the people that receive abuse online, and the police will not slowly brush it under the carpet until they're under the spotlight again. The UK FPU have a specialist unit working on this. They specifically put money aside to work on this case, right? But what about the rest of us? What about everyone else? It's right that they do this, and my frustration is not in envy or at the footballers for having this defense put around them, but it's in hope that this is not just a one-off, in hearing some action being taken against hate online. Hope as well that this will lead to similar action offline as well. We need to hear serious action, which leads me on to the next part of the show, where I've said it a couple of times in this. We're seeing so often in everything that we do, in everything that we report on the Bywire, where politicians are getting up to no goods. Today, it's been reported that Matt Hancock, the ICO, where they look into data breaches and stuff, they've been raiding houses looking for information on who leaked the video of Matt Hancock lipsing up his gal in his office. Come on now, where's the repercussion for Matt? Because let's be honest, yeah, Matt resigned, didn't he had to, but he didn't resign for all the other things he did. The fact that people are doing something about some leaked data in Parliament, but how often does the Cabinet Office leak data to the press? How often do the press leak information that they shouldn't be leaking? How often do the politicians do things that they shouldn't be? And where is the repercussions? Where is the punishment for all of the bad things that have happened, not just in the last 15 months? We talk about Boris Johnson today being on the news and talking about leveling it up and not being just spreading jam. Man's a dickhead, you know, because let's be honest, what has he done? The last 11 years that the Conservatives have been in power, where is the leveling up there? Why is it that we've still got children going to school hungry? Where is the media asking questions about why families are not able to put food on the table? Where is the media asking questions about why in cities we have half-built hospitals because of dodgy firms not being able to keep up to their word? The fact that in the Olympics, the prime minister's husband's own company, G4S, couldn't meet its security obligations that it had signed up to and been paid for, that the army had to come in and provide security at the 2012 Olympics. Where are the repercussions for this? The fact that there was a firm, was it Dominic Raab got a firm to help out in case of any problems over the English Channel during the Brexit period, and that company that he had gotten to help didn't even own a boat. They're offering to move stuff across water and they didn't even own a boat. Where's the repercussions for the politicians that signed those deals, for the companies that signed up and said they could do things that they didn't provide for the people? Where's the repercussions for the people that campaigned on, Brexit and said that there was going to be 350 million a week going into the NHS? Where's the repercussions for the people that said to the farmers and the fishers in the north of England that life would be better post-Brexit? There's no repercussions and the media ain't doing nothing about it. And we need to see more action, which is why I'm proud to be a member of an organization that is independent media, providing you with news you can trust. We're not going to lap up the words of the government. We're not going to lap up the words of the mainstream media. We're going to ask questions, which is why we have organizations like the Canary, we have organizations like the Bureau of Investigative Journalism taking the questions on and actually finding answers, putting the truth to power, and my gosh, they do a good job of it. So please, if you have enjoyed today's show, if you enjoyed the conversations that we've had with the people that we speak to, that we get on this show, and if you appreciate the hard work that goes into the journalism of the people that we represent here at Bywire, please head on over to bywire.news and check out that donate button. If you can, just a couple of quid a month, just a couple of quid a week, even if you can, please, we will continue to bring you the latest and most trustworthy news from across the independent news world. But to do so, please remember, we do need your help. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I really hope that you will be a part of us and you can own the media, be the media, and trust the media. I'm Dan Lewis. This is On the Bywire. Peace.